What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Meldrick Moment Extendo edition live. This is episode 282. I'm your host, Yusuf Ali, but you already saw that up there, and then again somewhere around this area. But let's get right into it. In retail news, they say that the Dollar Tree was the top performing retail store, like period, as far as people who sell stuff and make money from it. They are the number one, the Dollar Tree. And it's just a sign of the times, man. People going there and making the best out of they can. Like, that this can open, they're going to have to do the trick. Like, if it only open 4 cans, then so be it. But we just had to get 2 of them. But, that's the sacrifice people are making in order to get more gas and, drugs or whatever. So, yep. And it's odd coming on the heels of Black Friday. So if you got to, if you get some shitty Christmas presents, they try it, man. It's the thought that counts. Apparently, African gray parrots are the new trendy pet, the most sought after pet, because they talk. They say they smart as, I forget which age, small children. They pretty smart animals, and people want them. They're high demand. So, of course, with anything high demand comes, bootlegs and scams. So just make sure your parrot is a parrot that you got off the street for the hot, $200 or whatever it was. Because, it could just be a gray parrot, Keat. There was a fire at a tourist location in India. And it was like a nightclub or whatever. And of course it was too crowded because it's India. So my question is, as a tourist, why are you there? You couldn't find nothing else to do in India other than go be at a more crowded place than it already is. So, it is hard to feel bad for them because you don't want to die just because you shoulder to shoulder. But that should be a reason not to go. That was a very avoidable death. This story almost reminds me of any time somebody get hurt at one of these pop-up carnivals. A kidney transplant recipient died from rabies because they didn't scan for rabies when they got the kidney. Because who would give somebody a rabies-infested kidney? Like, what hospital would even let that go through? Because, of course, we don't test for kidneys. For rabies when we test these things. Because that's just the further from our comprehension that y'all would send us a rabies kidney. They thought he had a heart attack, even though he showed all the symptoms of a rabies victim, even allergic to water, before he died. They no. Heart attack. Not that was a symptom of the rabies, but the cause of his death. So I don't know whose mistake, who at fault. It's already bad enough you get a kidney and then you expecting to get a good kidney. It's not like you buying a used CD. Like, you don't mind a scratch or two because you only paid $3 for it. But you gonna give me a rabies kidney? All right, Melmos, you know my policy. If I read about something twice, then it's a trend. One time is a coincidence or just, a freak accident, but 2 times is a thing. And so now we're up to our second stabbing on the Charlotte train. So that's it. They just stabbing people in Charlotte on the trains. I advise you, or if you do not have a car in Charlotte, to take the bus or Uber. But, y'all got to get rid of that train option. There's too many ways to not get stabbed if that's the case. They got these one-wheel skateboard things. All you need is a helmet. Hella Lime scooters. Just, at this point, if you get stabbed on the train, it is your fault. Especially in Charlotte. Read an article that said a man's Apple Watch fall detection called 911 for him when he fell off a cliff. And then the end of the story was he met 911, when they got there, and he walked the rest of the way because, he didn't break a bunch of shit. He just had some wrist sprains and he was cool. And I was like, I know an ad when I see one. Maybe he really did fall off the cliff, but he conveniently, didn't break his neck. Whatever they need to do to win this Apple versus Samsung argument. Elf on the Shelf turns 20 years old this year. Which, I guess that's good. That, this little gimmicky thing that's been around this long and is working on these kids. And it also lets me know that that's 20 years of half-ass parenting. At least 1 month out of the year. a visiting professor at Harvard from Brazil. He just voluntarily went back to the country so he wouldn't be accused of anti-Semitism. Hating Jews. What happened was he was shooting at some squirrels with a pellet gun a little bit too close to a synagogue, and they took that as a threat. Because, one thing you're going to do if you hate Jews is shoot up the synagogue with a pellet gun. They ain't want to hear that shit. Yeah, Elon Musk can do 2 Hail Hitlers, but you better not throw no little hard plastic balls at no goddamn synagogue. You are out of here. So, Harvard or not, they don't care about none of that shit. You got a gun at the synagogue, water gun, pellet gun, BB gun. He gone. Speaking of guns, there was a shooting at a bar in Africa, and they say there was 3 kids that got shot too. But I hope innocently. I would hope you don't shoot up a 3-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 16-year-old, regardless of them not supposed to be in the bar. It's perfectly good reasons for children to be in the bar, especially in Africa. Like, what else is it to do? Well, maybe that in that village. So, all I know is when the 16-year-old probably was in the bar, just acting grown. The 12-year-old, one time I was in the bar celebrating my 13th birthday. My mama put $10 to get me started, and I ended up with 101. And the 3-year-old was probably just a hip baby. You can't leave a 3-year-old in the car in Africa. Really nowhere. But for sure not in Africa. So they just happened to be in there and got shot. Still tragic. But just don't blame the parents. Feel good story of the week. A Fabergé egg was recovered out of a pile of shit, basically. And the only good news is that they didn't have to cut the dude open to get it. And that's just good news for him. Because he's still in jail. It's not like they got the jewel and they got it out of his shit and now he can go on about his way. You still stole it. So, we didn't have to cut you open to get it, luckily for you. But now, who gonna want that? This has been all over the news. Who gonna want it? Who gonna want to look at it? Oh, that's the egg that was in dude's ass that got shitted out. Like a real, like it's an egg. Like usually an egg come out of a chicken, but this Fabergé egg came out of dude. So maybe that makes it more valuable.